WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have the Peat Chimney from the batch strength, one of 9,000 bottles worldwide, produced 2019. There was a 2017 version as well, was also 57%, which makes it a little bit difficult to differentiate the two. Over here in Germany at least, I paid €38.90 for this no age statement. Peat Chimney, of course, peat and smokiness, whiskey base number 126376. This is the third in my series here of the batch strength collections from Wemyss. The Spice King was interesting, had a tiny little bit of smoke, which I think was not necessary, especially since the third one has a smoke. And the Hive I really liked after adding a little bit of water. A little bit tart, a little bit bitter at the beginning, at its 55.5%, diluted down to about 48%. Yummy. The same thing for the Spice King. A little bit tart, but okay. I'm going to compare it to something which has become a little bit of a rarity over here, at least in Europe, because it's been discontinued. The Taliska North 57. So I heard the number 57. I immediately thought of the 57. Now, they're not identical. I know this cost originally about 50 some euros. Now it's up to 100. That's what happens over here in Europe when you discontinue something. People want to buy it. So if you want to ever have a very successful whiskey, just discontinue it, and many people will therefore buy it. I think it's the same with bourbon as well. If you discontinue something, people will actually go crazy then and want to have it. All right, yeah, so there will be probably new bottles coming out this year, maybe next year, let's see. They're going to be much thinner because it just takes up too much shelf space, my personal opinion. All right, on the back of the box it says here, the Peat Chimney Batch Strength Limited Edition is a handcrafted malt whiskey brought to you by the Wemyss family. Peat Chimney Batch Strength 02, or 002, is an extraordinary batch of our blended malt bottled in a limited quantity of 9,000 bottles, released at the strength found to be ideal for the character of this batch at a potent 57 alcohol by volume. So the Spice King was 58 and the Hive was 55.5. The other batches, 2007, were different ABV for the Hive and the Spice King, so you can differentiate. Peat Chimney, 57 both times, unfortunately. So created from single malts. There is no grain in here. These are just different single malts with signature smoke characters that weave layers of peat smoke to form powerful, intensive flavors and a smoldering finish. All right, very good. So on the nose. Oh, nice. Now I'm not a peat head yet. I'm getting there. So what I really didn't like about the Spice King is they ruined my wonderful, spicy Highland type of whiskey with a tiny little bit of peat. Get rid of that peat. Either you're going to have peat, yes, or you're not going to have peat, no. But just a tiny little peat, it's just not my thing. All right, old gym socks is what I get a lot of times if you do that. If you're going to put peat in it, have 10 ppm, 20 ppm, 30, 50, I don't care. I will drink 100 ppm if I have to, but have it at least be peated. And that's what this is, all right? So this is no denying the peat smoke. It's interesting enough, I'm getting three things. I'm getting a lemony type of lemon zest, which might be Koile. I get a little bit of barbecue, like barbecue potato chips. I think that would be Lagavulin, might be Lafroig, and I also get a little bit of I call it a bonfire on the sea with washed up wood. Yeah, so this wood that washes up on shore, and that's what I get a lot of times with Taliska. I get a nice little bonfire moment. Other things, I get ash, if the bonfire has been out for a couple days. Sometimes you get cigarette ash or cigar ash and so on. There's not much ash in here, which I prefer non-ashy peated whiskey, if I may. So it's very interesting how, what I don't get is heather. Highland Park would be for me. For the heather, I'm not getting that. Might be wrong. Who knows? It's not an Islay single malt, blended malt. I'm sorry. It just says blended malt. It can be any place. It could be Highlands. Ardmore has some peated whiskey. Glendronach has some peated whiskey. Benriach has some peated whiskey. A lot of different places actually have peated whiskey. So it doesn't always have to come from Islay. And the next last thing, 57%. Wonderful. No problem whatsoever. Doesn't burn, doesn't hurt. Is well integrated here. That lemon zest really is there. Wow. Okay, just in case the sound quality is much better now, I forgot to turn on my microphone before I started this. I paused to sneeze and then was like, oh no, then let's use the microphone. All right, sorry for that. So I hope it sounds much more better now and there's not this sound in the background. That comes from my camera for some reason. It's digital and yet it still sounds like analog. All right, very good. Let's try this now. 57%, no age statement, less than 40 euros. Whiskey Base 126376, 2019 edition. Cilantro. To your health. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm. Lemon zest, barbecue, bonfire on the beach. And a tiny little bitterness towards the end. It would almost be like a walnut skin type of bitterness. It's not bad. It detracts from the overall performance, in my personal opinion. All of these had a little bit of bitterness. Towards the end, somehow the wood, I'm not sure they're using exclusively first fill casks, maybe some second, maybe some third, and that's getting in there. But this is very well created. It's not too smoky, it's not too sweet, it's not too bitter, it's not too potent. Everything's exactly where it could and should be there in this balance. And the 57% support has a fairly long finish. There's a little bit of a sweet lemon type of zest with a tiny little bit of bonfire smoke at the end. Well done. And that for 40 euros, or under 40 euros, 38.90. Wow. 57%, very well done. You can actually improve this whiskey, which I think is possible. I like to play with water. I do know that the Wemyss family somehow thought that the 57% was the ideal ABV. I personally would say it's 50%, maybe 52%, maybe 49% here. Somewhere in that range. I dilute it down a tiny little bit, and I get here, interesting enough, the barbecue disappears. I get more of the lemon. Mm. Mm. Wow, I really like that way. You do have the lemon zest. You have a little bit of that bonfire, and the barbecue disappears. So somehow the barbecue moment, those barbecue potato chips, a tiny little bit still there at the end, dissipates with water. And so I guess they kind of picked the range where it was like, okay, what you want in a good blended whiskey is you want to have a great opening note, you want to have a great aftertaste and finish, and you want to have that middle palate moment to burst a little bit, to pop. And this does it. I really like that. I'm going to give it actually a C plus here. It's not enough for B minus, basically because I'm not a peat head. I'm sure other people that are very into peat and have had hundreds and hundreds of whiskeys before from Islay and so on might actually give this a B. But for me, it's still a C plus, which is, hey, if you like something like this, go out and buy it. As a contrast, the Talisker 57, which I did not like and probably still do not like. Port Ree, I like. Talisker 18, I love. Special releases from Talisker so far, I've really liked, or they've been good. I did not like the 10. I know other people love the 10, but I just, no, don't like the 10, and I do not like, a Sky is just, the Talisker Sky is just cheap supermarket whiskey. For the price, what you're getting for that price is, okay. Yeah, but I'd rather pay for a good whiskey and have a great whiskey in my glass, like the 18-year-old. The 25 and 30, I had old cardboard. There's an interesting video online, at least in German. I don't even know I did it in English or not. It's actually called the Super Talisker Challenge. And I took 12 Taliskas, all blind. This was involved in this as well. Everything else is the typical Talisker rate of, what is it here? Yep, it's 45.8. Everything was 45.8 except for this. It was 57. It just almost blew my palate out. If you're tasting blind everything at basically 45.8 and something comes in at 57, you should notice the difference. And I didn't. I did not like that. Discontinued, price has doubled since it's in the last year, which is the last half of a year, which is amazing. A little bit of bonfire, a little bit of caramel, a little bit of a woodiness. Let's say that, all right? Almost like artificial color, artificial coloring, artificial sweetener as well. All right, cheers. First of all, the alcohol is much, much stronger. There's a sharpness to that alcohol, which I still don't like. Second of all, there's a bitterness to the entire process here, which I don't like. And third of all, there's a little bit like of a seaweed type of taste in there that I don't like. So there's a little bit of sweetness down below, which is interesting. A little bit of maltiness, but on top of that, that seaweed, that chili, and that sharpness here of that peppery type of moment from the 57. This does go whap, 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 and some people go, yes, ma'am, do it again. And I'm like, don't hit me, I'm too weak for this. Just not my cup of tea. This, on the other hand, I really, really enjoyed. Also 57%. Question of the day, what whiskeys with 57% ABV can you recommend? Oh, interesting. Interesting question. I've never asked about that before. So let's see what you can recommend that has 57%. I immediately thought of the North from Taliska. Disappointment in my book. But the batch strength 2 Peat Chimney from Wemyss. No one else has done the 2, as least I could find. Everyone's done the 1 before that on YouTube on the videos, and therefore I went, looky there, I can do this. I hope that you have enjoyed this review. I hope that you have understood that this is something that's recommendable. All of the Wemyss batch strength. Don't be confused. There's the normal 46% and there's the batch strengths. 55, 58, and 57%, much, much better. Not much more expensive, at least over here. I'm paying like €6 more for 12 alcohol points higher. I mean, come on, it's a no-brainer. Everything there is a no age statement anyway, so this is very, very, very good value for money in my opinion. All right, like, subscribe, tell others, share this video, be so kind, and I would thank you very much for watching. Whiskey Jason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American tasting 9,000 bottles worldwide, rare and exotic whiskeys. All the best. See ya. Bye-bye.